What's up everyone? My name is Chris and I'm part of Heart and Cole. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Thank you very much for watching. We would love it if you stuck around for a little bit. We have a lot of really great adventures. This video is a little bit different than what we normally do. Our normal goal is documenting all of our adventures with our kids, of which we have a huge one coming up. We are taking the kids to Bali, of all places. And today we are going to be going over the camera gear that we are bringing with on our adventures. So there's a massive amount of gear and stuff to choose from as far as picking what is right for each individual scenario. Wanted to go over with you guys what we are bringing on our trip to try and document it. And so let's dive right into it. To start with, first thing, I guess I'm just gonna go with what's right here. Joby GorillaPod. This thing is invaluable for vlogging, holding a camera, all that sort of good stuff. Small tripod if you straighten the legs out, all that good stuff. You do have to be careful with a big camera with a big lens. These are very prone to tipping over. I modified this one a little bit. I guess I shouldn't say modified. I put a different ball head on top. The ball head that comes with this has a plate that, unless this is the only tripod you use, is fairly impractical. We use Manfrotto tripods, and for this, our regular tripod, our camera capture clip, all that stuff, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I bought this Manfrotto ball head. It's kind of their mini one, and it simply screws onto this 1/4 inch thread. I believe I had to get a small adapter nut to go in here. So this makes it super easy to use. Unclip from the big tripod, which I'm currently using to film this. Clip it onto here, and we're good to go. So this thing, super handy, kind of a little awkward to pack. Doesn't fit in this bad boy very well. I'll talk about this guy in a little bit, but this is a must-have. This guy, we are definitely bringing. It is a gimbal for our iPhones. Honestly, I'm not sure. This might be one of our lesser used items, but for the scenarios where we want to use it, I think it will be very useful. I don't have a big DSLR gimbal. On top of that, A, they're expensive, B, they are kind of bulky, not really something that's suitable for traveling and all that kind of stuff. So this guy, it's the Zinzun Smooth Q. We've had it for about a year or so. It's been useful. It has a few little bugs to it, but overall works great. I'm not gonna really review stuff all that much because there's a ton of information out about all of these, but this thing, handy. I think if I had to redo it, I probably would go with the DJI version. I think they're a little bit more refined and user-friendly, but I'll let you guys decide what you want to do on your own on that. But that is what we have. Not sure if the case is going with, probably. It's a little bit bulky, but this is very handy in the right scenarios. So, lastly on the table in front of me, this guy, once again, breeze through it pretty quick. It is DJI Mavic Air. Pretty much every travel photographer, whatever, probably has some sort of a drone. This thing is ridiculous. It's tiny, takes, I'm gonna say, good quality. They've got new ones, better quality, they're slightly bigger, but this is the one we have. I am bringing Pelican, it's not a Pelican case, it's a Samtree? I'm guessing that's a knockoff of the Samsung, I don't know. But anyways, got this case on Amazon, I'll put a link down below it. But propellers, guards, batteries, I've got 2 more batteries that are on charge in the other room. But I'm going to bring one of the cloth cases that the drone originally came in for when we do go backpacking. I can take the couple parts and pieces, but I am going to be packing this whole case to Bali. I can throw this into a suitcase and I don't have to worry about it getting damaged or any of that kind of stuff. It's pretty much waterproof. So this goes. Okay, on to, I'm going to set this stuff down. Give us a little bit more room for the Wandrd bag. I love this bag. It is very comfortable to carry. It has detachable hip waist belts took us a little bit to actually find them to begin with. That was a big drawback when I first saw this bag. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this bag. I really like it, but it doesn't have waist belt. And for any sort of activities and that kind of stuff where you're hiking, you really want a waist belt. And lo and behold, they have it. It just wasn't very apparent and I hadn't done my research. So let's dive into the fun part of this bag. I'll go a couple quick features on it. Has a little secret pocket here. This thing is super handy. You can throw like passports or some cash or kind of, you know, anything little, small, thin. It's not a very noticeable pocket. So then to get to your camera gear, like most other camera backpacks, we unzip the back. Here we are. Unfold this. This guy normally sits right here to add a little extra protection, so something like that. And before I forget, it's got a spot for a laptop and an iPad. So this computer and my big iPad fit right here, works beautifully. The only downfall on my iPad, I have a case that makes it just a touch bit snug to fit into this. So very, very doable, but just a little, it doesn't slide right in. So now on to the camera gear. Well, to start with, our big main camera, Sony A7iii. It is what I'm currently using to film this, so I will cover it in a little bit, but it is a beautiful, wonderful camera. This guy right here is our most highly used lens ever. It's the 24-105 f4. It fits basically everything. Wide angle to telephoto. I'd say 95%, maybe 90% of my pictures I've ever taken have been with this. I love this lens. Basically, if I had to pick one lens out of everything that I have, this would be it. So that is definitely going. I will show you what this looks like. Basically, it's a smaller compartment for camera gear. It is not a huge compartment. So this is not a backpack for 10 lenses, a drone, all that stuff. It is, we actually really were looking for this exact setup with a smaller camera gear and then an upper portion where you could store gear if we go on a hike with our kids, other stuff other than just camera stuff. So that is where that is. Then our next lens is the 55 Carl Zeiss Prime lens. This thing is phenomenal. I'd say most of the really good portrait pictures that I have put up of our family onto Instagram, this is the guy. It is pricey, but oh my gosh, is it worth it? It takes beautiful pictures. So definitely that one is going. And the only other lens that we are taking is being used to film this right now. It is the 16-35 f2.8 from Sony, and that there again, beautiful lens. I actually just got it, so haven't ever taken a picture with it. I'm really hoping that I get some good opportunities to. I'm actually really excited about it. So only downfall is I gotta get a couple filters. So this other compartment right here used to house my 70-300. That is probably one of my least used lenses, so we are leaving it behind. I don't do a lot of super telephoto work. If I need some good, nice blurred background for portraits, I've got this guy. So 70-300, it is staying behind, but this is my filters for my 24-105. The only problem is these are not big enough for the 16-35. So I will be probably upgrading my filter pack housing. I have a CPL, a variable ND, and then a 6-stop ND. These guys are very, very useful for film. The CPL is much more photo related. That goes in here. Then I also have GoPro. That goes in here, and then this other little spot is taken up with the Rode mic, and that is currently being used as well. It is actually right up there. So that is what is in the camera cube spot. The really cool thing about this bag, the camera cube, this little portion inside comes out of this backpack, and you can actually attach the waist belt to just the camera cube. Now, I will say that is a super sexy look, but it is handy walking around with just the camera cube if you don't want to carry this entire bag. But you know, when you're taking pictures, you gotta carry your stuff with. So I'm going to put this back in here and zip all of this stuff up. Now you can access the main compartment above through this little mesh pocket right here, but I'm gonna pull everything out of the top just so that way I can get this off the table. Got a little bit more space to show you guys everything else that is in our bag. So, the camera bag will go here. Unrolls, you can actually fit a huge amount of stuff. I could fill a whole lot more stuff in here if I wanted to. I personally love the fact that this top is expandable. It's got a dry top, rolls down. Haven't used it in the rain, but we are going to Bali. I am sure that I will get the opportunity to have this bag out in the rain. So, anyways, let's open it back up. Okay, first thing that's in here is this guy. This kind of lives just loose in our bag. We have this little neoprene pouch for it. It is the backup camera. Sony A7iii. It's a great little camera. This is something that if we're going on slightly more adventurous stuff where we don't want to worry about the good camera getting broken, this comes with. I am only bringing the kit lens with it. It's a 16-50. It does the trick. It is not the greatest, but if I need to, I can hook up any of my full frame lenses to this camera. So, great little thing for setting up time lapse or any of that kind of stuff. So, this definitely goes with us. Next, looks like we're diving into the GoPro accessories, which, as most people know, there's a ton of them. Suction cup mount. This one, right now, the only definitive thing I know I'm gonna be using this for, I wanna suction cup this to the window of the airplane while we're on this 16-hour flight from here to, let's see, it goes to Seoul, South Korea. Then from there, we have another 8-hour flight from there to Bali. That's gonna be a lot of fun with kids. Anyways, this guy, I am planning on using for that. I don't know if I'm gonna use it for much else. Hopefully I will, because it is a little bulky, but that is going. Let's see here. Ooh, headlamp. This thing doesn't get used all that often, but it lives in this camera bag because when you need it, it is invaluable. iPhone flashlights are useful, but always you have to hold it or whatever. So, headlamp, definitely have that. Okay, back to GoPro land. The GoPro selfie stick, as I like to call it. Boom. Thing's actually kind of handy. Unscrew this. Screw it on there. Got yourself a little tripod. And yeah, so this is going just because it is kind of handy to have the GoPro, be able to selfie yourself and all that sort of good fun stuff. So that goes. Next up, GoPro floating handle grip. We're definitely going to be in the water. GoPros do not float, so this guy is going with, and I'm sure you will get the opportunity to see it, but our 18-month-old, he's a chucky little baby. He will grab stuff and just throw it over the side of a boat. It is, yeah, we almost had a friend's cell phone get lost this summer. Okay, this one, ooh, these things are so stylish. The good old head strap for the GoPro. Kind of hoping I can get some fun video of Hartley jumping in a pool or something. Doesn't take up much room, so gonna bring it. Not sure if we're gonna use it. Handlebar mount. Definitely bringing this because we are planning on renting a scooter and Lord only knows what's gonna happen on that. So this will catch most of those moments. And let's see here, moving on to these guys. I will talk about these. They are wonderful. They are aperture lights. This is the old version, this is the new version. The case is fairly big, so kind of one of those where Features on the new one, way better. This guy though, size-wise, super small. I actually have one of the gels put in it already. Didn't even know that came off. When you open up the bag, it's got a warm gel and a cool gel, and I was like, how does this work? Couldn't figure it out, then I bumped it or something did that, and I was like, oh, cool. Put that there, clip it on, boom. So these things are super handy. I'm big into keeping them in their case so that they don't get destroyed, all that fun stuff. So that goes. This one, I would show it to you, but it is in use on top of the camera, so I will talk about it in a little bit. But love this thing. Next, this is kind of the grab bag of goodies. I have a lot of extra stuff. I wouldn't say extra, I would say miscellaneous camera-based stuff. Little blower, dust blower, that is super handy when you need it. Don't need it all that often. We tried really hard to keep our camera gear clean, but every now and then, gotta use that. This little guy, cold shoe mount. This way I can put a microphone and the aperture light next to each other on top of the camera if I need to. So, pretty handy. Battery charger and a spare battery for the A7iii. iPad cube that has been pre-colored by a 3-year-old. It's one of a kind. Clamp. This little guy, haven't had it that long. Hopefully it will be useful, but basically it's got a 1/4-inch thread so that I could mount, well, actually now that I think about it, I think you could even mount camera on the bottom, you could mount microphone, any of that stuff, and it clamps onto the edge of the table right there. So, clamp onto that, clamp onto the side of the door. We'll see. Hopefully that will be useful. What else do we have? Peak Design capture clip. These things are so handy, so useful. Probably not gonna bring this one because this is a spare, but we have one right here on this bag. We have another one on our Osprey kid carrier. They are pretty much the slickest thing ever. Camera. This is a Manfrotto base that is designed by Peak Design so that it can be used in their clips and in the Manfrotto stuff. So there you go. It's that simple. There's a little button here. You push the button and it comes out. It is so handy, so useful. Every time we're on a hike and I have my camera hanging from this and someone looks at it, they're like, what is that? I'm like, oh yeah, here, boom. Super useful. So probably the best, like, I think they're like, depending on the model, $40 to $60. Very, very handy. Okay, next. Got a couple more small things. Body plates. Extra lens cap. Extra lens cap. Then we have extra memory cards. I don't have a snazzy memory card holder, so they live in here. We have a couple of them, a couple micros, all that sort of good stuff. And then I have Allen key with a couple extra Peak Design tabby doodle things. They make it so you can clip your camera strap. So that all lives in here. Next, battery pack, portable battery power. These things, one of these lives in this bag, assuming it's charged. We have a couple times not had these charged because our kids like to turn them on and this has a flashlight in it, which is handy, but when it gets left on, obviously it is drained. But super handy so you can charge it. Now we're getting into, land of bags. Microphone adapters. Microphone adapter for an iPhone. Now, this does not fit a microphone specifically. You need to then go out and buy another cord. It is a TRRS to TRS. Basically, it has to do with how many rings are on here, how many rings are on your microphone. So anyways, you gotta do something like this. Then the microphone plugs in, then you can use an external mic on your iPhone. This Probably the dumbest engineering thing I think I've ever seen. But anyways, this is GoPro's microphone adapter. This honking thing is needed. You can only use this for the GoPro 5 or 6. It makes it very, very hard to use an external microphone on a gimbal because you have this big old thing hanging off the side of a GoPro with weight, and so not terribly well thought out or designed. I don't know why, if you're plugging this in, that you'd need a second, if you want just a microphone, it's like, come on, something like that. Anyways, so those all live in a bag. This is also something new that we are getting just for this trip. I used to have a couple different remote shutters. One would work from like 10 feet away and the other was just a wired shutter. This is basically both in conjunction. That was good English there. Okay, so intervalometer. I can plug this directly into the camera or plug this into the camera, and now I have a wireless remote, wireless shutter release. I believe this will work up to around 200 feet. I'll put the exact number down here, but super excited to see what this can do. It can also work for doing time lapses, all of that sort of stuff. So this definitely excited about. Goggle, that's actually not a goggle bag, that's a Peak Design bag. But these things, I have a ton of these, and I'm actually don't bring specific lens cloths because I have so many of these bags with stuff in them. I think we maybe only have like one lens cloth that we take because all these bags, same materials. Okay, junior chesty for the GoPro. Not sure if we're gonna use this, but gonna bring this along so that Hartley could wear it, and it's always get some kind of cute footage of him running around with the GoPro on. Never know what you get when you give a camera to a 3-year-old. So, gonna bring that one. Next up, not even gonna dive into this, it's a bag of cords, basically 2 of each, 2 USB-C, 2 USB micro, 2 iPhone cords. Don't have a fancy cord holder, but that's what lives in there. Haha. More goggle bags. This is the random bag of GoPro parts. Probably gonna pare this down, but it is mounts, screws, all that stuff. That lives in this bag. And the last thing that I have in that pocket would be GoPro battery charger, spare battery for the Sony A7iii. And that is what is in our Wandrd bag for this trip, along with the external hard drive over here, my computer, and now I'm gonna switch cameras. Now we're gonna talk about the fun one. This guy. This is our main camera. It is the Sony A7iii, and currently I have on this is the 16-35 f2.8 G Master lens from Sony. I actually just received this lens in the mail a couple of days ago. Bought it off of eBay, got it used for a really, really good deal. I checked the glass out, there's no scratches on it. Does have some blemishes right here on the bezel, but a little black scratch on there. The glass is great. So really excited about this. Haven't actually gotten to take any pictures with it, so super excited. It's like the 3rd time I've said excited. Can you tell? I'm very, very stoked about this lens. Really should be able to get us a lot of really good shots while we're down there. And then there's a ton of different reviews and info out on this A7iii, but in the grand scheme of things, when Alex and I were looking at getting into photography-based stuff, she shot Canon, I shot Nikon a long time ago, so we compromised and ended up in the middle with Sony, and honestly I'm really glad that we did. Their mirrorless design seems to be way ahead of the pack, and this one for video we upgraded from an A7R II. The biggest thing, battery life, huge. This has a few better video modes as well, as far as some of the focusing modes and the S-Log, all the video picture profiles. This thing does wonderfully with. So this guy is our main camera. Absolutely love it. So there you have it. That is what is in our camera bag. The only thing I don't think I touched on, Rode mic, sitting right there. Seeing as that I don't have a tripod for it, I did super ghetto. I actually ran my microphone extension cord and taped it to the ceiling so that the microphone could hang down right near me and get some better, crisper audio. So Okay, so that is pretty much the camera gear that we are taking to Bali. Super excited about this trip, super excited to get to document it for you guys, show us our experience with our 2 little kids. Our next video is going to definitely be involving them. We've got to get some packing done for them. Alex will be going over what we're bringing with our carry-on to do a 40-hour travel from Bozeman to Dempensar. So that's gonna be a long adventure. Fortunately, part of that 40 hours is a 10 to 12 hour layover in Salt Lake City. So we will be getting a hotel room at night and actually get a night's sleep. But from there we go to Seattle and then to South Korea down to Dempensar. So got a couple really long flights with, cross our fingers, some really good and well-behaved kids. You never know, we might have a meltdown or 2, but that's the fun of doing this. Hopefully the people in the plane don't want to kick us out by the time we get there, but you never know. So thank you so much for watching. This is what we're bringing, and please don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, all that stuff. And we will definitely see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.